Welcome to the freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing. Oh, hey folks, dude here, yet again, an iteration of Dude After Dark. I'm gonna try something a little crazy here, because I got these buttons on the side of the player. Let me try something real quick here. Let me try this button. And I think we now actually have, possibly, correct orientation. I don't know. Let me take a look and fire things up here. I'm now looking at the YouTube side of things. Looking at my own channel, obviously. So hopefully there is now the live broadcast. Mute that. Okay, Martina Sasquatch, appreciate you coming by, dude. Let's see. Do I have correct orientation? No, I don't. Okay, I was wondering what that button did, but it didn't flip things around, so I'm still backwards. That's weird, man. I don't know what those buttons do. I guess I'll have to just look this thing up so I can figure out who's who and what's what and what they actually physically do. Hopefully sound is okay on your side. I don't know why it was sketching up that last time. That was really kind of strange. But I didn't do... Sound guy. No, I didn't do anything weird to it. Really? Really? I did nothing to the setup. I did nothing to it. Whatever. Okay, anyway, sound guy is insisting that something was sound related. Don't really think things are anything too terribly crazy. Let me adjust this just a little bit, though. Seems a little brighter than normal. Let me try killing that one. See if that makes a difference. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it looks, it's got this weird perspective. It looks like I'm kind of like looking up this long version of me. I don't know what it is. Maybe I changed the aspect ratio a little bit. I don't know. It's like I'm looking at these buttons on the side, and it's like one's a circle, one's a microphone, one is like a drop-in kind of a thing. Something else does something really weird. And you know what? I don't really want to mess with the buttons right now while I'm doing a live cast and have everything just kind of go. Hang on a second here. I think I got this one, sound guy. I don't want to have it just kind of go. No, sound guy, no, that's not what I was looking for. I don't want it to go. Right.
Oh, you touch my tra-la-la. My ding-ding-dong. He's dead, Jim.
Okay, stop, okay? It's not that bad, okay? I didn't adjust anything and have it go kablooey and have you go looking at it later and go... You know what? I'm going to get back in the control room, and I'm just going to start switching a few wires around, just so he can look at it and go, no! Yeah, that's really, really, really what I want to have going on right there, is I want to have Sound Guy completely losing his stuff.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks! Look at me!
No. Okay, it's not that at all, Sound Guy. But if you keep screwing with me, it might be... Yeah, it might be monkey feces. Yeah, it might be monkey feces. And you'll be looking at it and just going... Yeah.
Come on, squeal! Squeal!
Yeah, I don't think we need all that one, okay? Yeah, okay, stop with the monkey feces. All right, let me look over on the old new laptop and get myself squared away on what we're looking at for, news at large, as it were. Anyway, this one so seriously cracked me up. Sound guy, no sound effects, please. This one so cracked me up. Joy Reid, also known as Miss Oblivious, Miss just missed. She's now completely not missed because she's off the air. Excuse me one second here. I think she's in the same boat as one of these other news guys that gets booted off. They become podcasters with subscription, and they don't have a whole heck of a lot of subscribers because nobody really cared what they had to say in the first place. Anyway, so Joy Reid has been essentially rendered pretty much moot. I mean, she was really just kind of a screaming, meme-eyed, annoying news person in the first place. Then it became like really notable that she was just, she's box office poison, okay? She's just chasing everybody away from any viewing habits that they would ever have at the time in which she was actually on the TV. And she's now pretty much like persona non grata. Translation, nobody really wanted to watch her in the first place, but she was just kind of around doing her own spiel, as it were. Anyway, so she's now been seen as making these cute little statements pointing out the absolute 180 out of the average everyman and the way that they want to reside upon planet normal. Yeah, well, what she's done is she's basically stated the bleeding, bloody, pointedly just absolutist, obvious things. Most people would go, yeah, that makes absolute sense. That's kind of really what I want to have in my daily existence. So, what did Joy Reid actually say? Well, she warns America about quote-unquote dangerous MAGA plans. Okay, this is really dangerous MAGA plans. She said this, quote, they want to take us back to no income tax. That sounds pretty good to me. Well, usually, most people tend to know, if they do know history, income tax was actually incorporated back in 1914. Why? Because we're getting ready to go into World War I. We needed to finance these things. So, income tax was instituted for World War I. Well, we got, income tax on World War I, income tax on World War II, Korea, Vietnam, all the other desert combatant things, and fielded way too much money going into the coffers of the federal government. But she says that, as an outset, they want to take us back to no income tax. I've got no problem with no income tax. I would rather simply just have a flat consumption tax. That way, you judge how much you send to the federal government with the way in which you spend your money. The second thing is, the federal government doesn't have a clue how much money you make, okay? They really shouldn't know in the first place just what is your daily / yearly / any income that you possess, and is your hard-earned based on your own labors. They shouldn't know that, okay? They really don't need to know that. So she says they want to take us back to no income tax. I'm fully in agreement with that one. No regulations. Now, she's not specific in that one. She just says no regulations. Well, if you know anything about, the way that they've been going on about this new Green Deal or Agenda 2030 or Agenda 2035 or any other happy horse stuff that they seem to be kicking around and, saying, well, we need to institute this for the long view on, how much things are going wrong with the planet, global warming, water rising. I just recently heard something on Bloomberg, the other day, they're going on about, the beaches are going away because, water's rising because all the, the ice has been melting. If you take 1/2 second and look at the news that they've been reporting, the ice areas have grown by 500,000 square kilometers. Just an insane amount of ice production, and it's cyclical. Nothing's changed. And they said, oh yeah, in the next 10 years, if we don't do something, the planet's going to die. They've been saying this since the early 1970s, folks. First it was global cooling. Then it was global warming. Then it was global something else. They really, truly have these really short run timetables to try to keep the fear of God in everybody. And they're the only fix. Just give me 1 second here. Oh no! We have to be carbon neutral by X amount of years or the planet's just gonna die. Never mind the fact that 2 active volcanoes currently pooping out tons of its own stuff generates way more carbon dioxide, way more carbon monoxide, way more other really not great for you gases. And it's standard Earth production that we can't change a whit of. That execution, that generation, so far outstrips the flea fart that the human race puts out for all of our actions on the planet. It makes us fleas on the dog's back, quite literally. So, no regulations. I'm pretty much in agreement with that. It depends on the regulations, but she's not getting specific. Earn as much as you want. Oh, how could possibly people want to earn as much as they want and with no income tax? How could this happen? How could these people make all this money? Well, Joy Reid came in from Guyana and she said, we're being so held back. You know, we are not allowed to do these things that we really should to make our lives better. And, you know, problem is, when she was working for, I think it was MSNBC, when she was working for MSNBC, she was making $3 million per year. Average yearly income in Guyana is like $5,200. I think she was doing just fine. Yeah. Okay, so earn as much as you want and leave it to your children with no taxes. So obviously she's a fan of confiscatory regulation that takes away your hard-earned on how many levels? Well, you pay tax on your earnings. You pay sales tax on everything that you purchase. You pay inheritance tax to anybody that's going to be getting any of those things that you're going to be getting after you've departed. And oh yeah, Social Security is another form of taxation. And before Trump signed off on the big beautiful bill, you were taxed on your income, you were taxed with Social Security, and when you got in your remittance, which was, you know, basically not that great amount of money from Social Security, you paid tax on it yet again. So, just by sheer osmosis, you could be paying taxes on every dime that you make, somewhere in the order of you're lucky to clear 4 cents. Maybe. So, essentially then, 60% of your income was going to the federal government. Why? Why are they taking all this money, and what are they possibly doing with it, except for something that probably in reality you don't agree with fully? You're being forced at the point of a gun to give up your hard-earned. Now, the only way you get around that is if you earn nothing, and, well, obviously living in a hole somewhere, or, you know, residing out in a scrap heap and basically making, you know, just fair to middling nothing is not a good example of a decent execution of your livelihood. So, yeah, they want to take us back to no income tax, no regulation, earn as much as you want, and leave it to your children with no taxes. Joy, why don't you give up about 75 to 90% of your income and just give it to the federal government? Because that's what you're asking everybody else to do. If it's only fair. That's the other thing, too. Is also these guys really, truly have a hard time going, well, my trust funds and all these other things that I'm using to shelter my wealth. Yeah, that's the rich guy game. Is you can leverage $10 or $15 million. We don't have the ability to do that. And when you leverage $10 to $15 million, it's worth it for you. For us to try to leverage $150,000 to $200,000 is not worth the time and effort. Patriot Fever, appreciate you coming on by, dude. Let's see. Reporting from the... Hang on a second here. Reporting from the head. Nurse Patriot made some legendary tacos. 2 hours... Oh, no. Oh. Yeah. Okay, so legendary tacos. Okay, yeah, I'm sure he's probably dealing with the After Effects. Oh man, he's probably dealing with the After Effects. You know, you should have come to me for dinner. You went to the wrong person, and they gave you a meal that's gonna take your part. Patriot Fever's having issues. Martina Sasquatch sounds like me after 2 French dips. Oh man, sounds like. Oh, stop it! No, well, it is probably ew Duke. It's probably more than just ew Dookie. Okay, it's probably really, really bad times. Hey, honey, you got some air freshener?
Ew.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, no, sound guy, stop. Okay, I wasn't quite expecting that, but sure. Mm. All right. Anything to get into the fart files. Anything. Anything. Nice. I gotta get back to the news stories because he's just gonna keep playing fart effects. Wow. So yeah, Joy Reid. Well, if you just take that 180 out, that's really the way most people actually think. They don't think like, a full-on raging leftist lunatic news person. See, scrolly. That's a visual, and I'm not going to show that in the room. I think it's the mayor of like Seattle or something like that, Portland, and this chick just looks. Oh man, no. I think it's like, thank you so much for your position, but she says, just so you know, I do not date Trump supporters. Thanks, thank you, appreciate it. Oh, but man, wow. She fell out of the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down. Okay, let's just leave it as that. The face that only a mother could love. Woof. It is getting very interesting though. The NFL right now is still stridently going, oh no, Bad Bunny is going to be the halftime act. The backlash right now is absolutely legend. Wait for it. Legendary. They are getting their phones rung off the hook. People are just saying, I don't want to see Bad Bunny dressed up in a dress, singing, rapping, whatever. No. Get somebody more conventional, somebody who's more aligned with just basic okay precepts and not this just convoluted just thinking of, well, I don't really want to be in the United States because it's this, that, and the other thing. Jackass, you're from PR. You're really a United States citizen, okay? Ugh. Wow. Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. Yeesh. Nothing good about that Bad Bunny. I don't know how I'm going to play this. I think I can play this. Let me see if I can't make this one work, okay? You know what? No, I'm not. I'll just simply tell you guys about it, and you can find the link, okay? I will find you the link. Hang on a second here. I will find you the link, okay? And that way you guys can go in the room, and you can click off on it, and I don't have to worry about some stupid YouTube copyright hit. So let me just do that real fast here, and you guys can find it for yourselves. But I cannot do this justice. This is absolutely freaking hilarious. All right, let me make sure that thing is muted. Yes, it's muted. Okay, so in case it doesn't autoplay on me, let's see. Was it this one? Because I got to actually pull up like a link on, on X, formerly known as Twitter. Hang on a second here. I think it's this. Yes. Okay, so I will drop the link in the room and you guys can see it for yourselves, okay? But it is a Twitter / formerly known as Twitter X link. I don't know if that's going to work, but I'll try it. Yeah, I think it's actually in the room. Let's see, because it's actually in the chat room. It's not a link on the video description or something like that. But yeah, I cannot do this justice. Well, you guys can watch this at your own leisure, but absolutely hilarious. They're like, so Schumer is going on about, well, the New York Times poll is biased, and I don't really trust the New York Times all that much myself, when it's really just a case of everybody's like, dude, we're blaming the Democrats, and most especially, we're blaming you. So, the U.S. Senate erupted into laughter on Tuesday evening as Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York, argued that his hometown paper, the New York Times, is quote-unquote biased due to their poll revealing that a majority of Americans were against the Democrat push to shut down the government. Okay, I just recently saw a poll where even the Washington Post was trying to be defensive on it. 8 points are swinging right now, showing only a minor majority going, oh, no, it's the Republicans. Okay, that's margin of error or a major oversampling that the Washington Post is doing to try to carry the water for Chuck Schumer and all the rest of the Democrats right now, because they're going on and on about, wow, the Republicans shut down the government. Okay, let's be completely flipping honest here, all right? 52 Republicans does not equal 60 votes as the majority to carry the Senate and make sure anything that they do is locked in and guarantee the pass. They have to get at least 8, and I'm talking 8 Democrats to agree with them, or get Murkowski and Rand Paul to go, oh, okay, sure, this is a good time to do a continuing resolution. So really they need 6 more Democrats. Well, Fetterman right now, he's a lock. He's like, this is just stupid. We don't need to shut down the government. I'm going to agree with the Republicans on this thing, and we need to get the government back up and running. The other thing, too, is also Chuck Schumer is being completely dishonest in the regard. He's saying, wow, this budget that they're putting forward will be denying health care to this, that, and the other thing. Dude, it is a spending level, same thing. Continuing resolutions are a continuation for a short period in time at the previous budget level. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't subtract anything. It is merely a continuation to give the Congress and Senate time to hash things out and come out with a new budget. And it's kind of like a mulligan, if you were. The thing about it is Chuck Schumer is trying to predispose the government shutdown as Thor's hammer. It's those Republicans. They did it. They shut down the government. No, Chuck Schumer, you own this one. And it's one of those things where you really, truly are hosed. In the room, I have somebody by the name of Chris. Yes, I still do have the CRX. It is not on the road right now. It's currently in my garage. I have to hang a passenger glass window on the passenger door, and obviously the tank's going to need to get flushed, and obviously it's going to need to have a battery stuck in it. And it's been sitting for a while. Why? What's going on there, Chris? Are you actually looking for a CRX, or are you just wondering if I'm still putting around in it? Let's see. Scrolly. So anyway. First and foremost, Chuck Schumer, this is on your shoulders. You own this. This is all you, bub. You shut down the federal government Mostly because right now you are deathly afraid and trying to look big and bold because breathing down your neck is AOC. And you know what? I'm almost wondering if everybody shouldn't throw a couple bucks at AOC if she decides to run so she can beat F. Chuck U. Schumer. Because somebody as crazy as she is and as well not as smart as he is, I think it's just going to be a better fit. So I think right now, F. Chuck U. Schumer, you're F. Chucked. Your job is looking like you're not going to get reelected, dude. You are done. Let's see. Scrolly. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So yeah, he's also got one. Okay. Yeah, time, money, ability, locked in the garage. You know, it's my garage, so it's not like I'm paying storage on it or anything. But yeah, I need to get it back on the road if I need to get it back on the road. But I'm actually thinking of getting something newer, or maybe something older. I would love to have another Datsun Z. I really, really would. Let's see. Scroll. I think Chuck Schumer is going to be looking for a new job. This one, I cannot do this justice, and I can't play it, unfortunately, but Nancy Mace posited the notion that because of some video and some comments made by Ilhan Omar, she should be censured. And yeah, I don't think that's going to really work out so good for Omar because she's saying ignorant things. And, oh yeah, this video up and you can't take down video once it's on the internet. Why? Because there is no delete button on the internet and you can't get rid of that stuff, okay? It's just there. Let's see. Scrolly. What is on the screen of my computer there? I do not know. And why don't you want to put those things on there?
So please remember what you're going to get. There's no delete button on the internet.
Exactly. There is no delete button on the internet. Let's see. I'm just scrolling through a couple things here because unfortunately it's one of those things where the major problem is I literally put stuff up on my Facebook timeline, and that's what I usually use to reference when I'm doing stuff for the podcast. Facebook is not a really good storage medium. It's just not. They want you to hit the things like, within like a short period in time. Obviously, your friends do something or have some interaction, and that's when you're like, oh yeah, click the like button and all this other stuff. Yeah, right here. Let's see. Sometimes just not the best thing. Scrolly. I got a lot of memes. That's part of the problem. Like the memes where you see like, they did the grilling scene that Chuck Schumer did where he had like the uncooked hamburger with the unmelted cheese, and they dressed him up with like a grill with like very Latin kind of, grill items, and he's got a sombrero and the Mexican style mustache. The memes are just absolutely just positively just amazing. Scrolly. I cannot do it justice. Some of them are just absolutely hilarious. So many sombrero memes. Let's see. This one I thought was pretty hilarious. NBA, well, this is the WNBA. It's not just the NBA, but the WNBA star Angel Reese makes a feature film debut with a cameo in a Netflix nuclear disaster thriller, A House of Dynamite. No. Reese, a Vogue cover girl who currently plays for the Chicago Sky, can say she's in good company with the film's star-studded cast. Reese's involvement in A House of Dynamite is part of a broader strategy to make her a cultural icon. No, she's not that good looking, okay? I love this one. Somebody posted up a picture of her as like a meme. The Hollywood Reporter. WNBA star Angel Reese makes feature film debut with cameo in Netflix nuclear disaster thriller. So somebody on there said, lies. She's been in numerous Ice Age films. Like, she looks like Sloth. With, like, the bug eye kind of thing she's got going on. She's got the dog eye thing going on, but no, she's not that pretty, okay? I don't know what it is with Hollywood. It's like they basically take somebody that's really kind of plain Jane and they're like, oh, look at the beauty. Look at this beauty. Da, da, da. It's like, no, you're picking like average plain people and you're saying they're like phenomenal. No, this is not the case. And two of these things are really not like the other. No, they are just not the same thing, okay? You taking somebody that's pretty plain Jane and average looking, and just because they're famous because they chase a ball around? No, I'm sorry. Does not make this person like, oh yeah, this is Hollywood starlet material. I have to see this person on the big and small screen. No, that's not the case. Not the case at all. Just woof. Absolutely woof. Oh, Patriot Fever. Dudes make sure Sound Guy isn't having Sound Guy time at Dude's computer. Let's just say that he gave the floppy disk slot an entirely new usage. Yeesh. And it wasn't like pretty afterwards. Let's just say it wasn't like he needed Viagra for the floppy disk. Oh, yeah, Martina Sasquatch, yeah. Waylon Jennings called it Holly Weird for a reason. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely on point. Scrolly. Yeah, this one's kind of a sad one. So if you got one, you're going to have to hoist one, okay? Passing and in remembrance on October 3rd, 1967, the three astronauts that perished in Apollo 1 are read as astronauts Roger Chaffee, Ed White, and Gus Grissom. We commend you, sirs, to absent companions. So apparently what happened was NASA designed the capsule in such a way that the door could not be opened with ease. And the capsule was filled with pure oxygen, and something tragic happened and a fire broke out. Well, if you know your science experiments, anything that's existing in pure oxygen doesn't last for long. The only positive thing I could say about it was the fact it was such an intense fire, they perished pretty quickly. But still, or absolutely horrific that it did happen. But unfortunately, when you're pressing into new and completely unknowns, things go wrong. Things go outside of normal thinking, and also new technology develop new problems that you hadn't seen previously. So yes, Chaffee, White, and Grissom, commend your sirs. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one. I don't know if you guys are gamers with Xbox. Oh, my stars and garters. Microsoft, besides putting out something that's going to create so much e-waste with, the new bigger, better, badder, improved OS of Win 11 versus Win 10, they now have said that the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is going to be increased to $29.99 per month. Okay, I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but that is through them. And the process of getting way too expensive, the first thing that all the gamers said was, oh, no, not going to do it. And the website for the Xbox Game Pass subscriptions has been overloaded with cancellations. So this was after the news that the Ultimate subscription would be increased to $29.99 per month. Now, I did hear that, what the heck is that stupid game store? But anyway, I forget what it is. It's basically the big chain of, like, video game stores. They said that they're still going to offer it for $19.99. Microsoft, however, it's going to be $29.99. Yipes. Yipes. Let's see. Looking in the room. Yeah. GameStop. Yeah. Thank you, Pay Fever. Yeah, GameStop. Yeah, Martina Sasquatch. Yes, I did hear about that. I'm not taking that out of the room, no, because that's just horrific. But we both know the history of it. He's talking still about, like, some of the incidents where NASA was supposed to do something and cheaped out. Yeah, that it's not like they haven't done that before. Okay, you basically look at the Challenger disaster. They said don't launch because it's too cold, and then Morton Thiokol was the ones at fault when they told them specifically it's too cold, don't launch now. Yeah, the Challenger disaster could have been prevented if they simply waited until the temperature had warmed up. Florida normally doesn't get to 40, 50 degrees. That's pretty much unusual. But it was really flipping cold for the launch procedure to take place. And they did it anyway. So yeah, that's not unheard of for NASA to go, oh, it's been a long time since we've done a launch. We got to look good. Let's rate these guys off because it's acceptable risk. Yeesh. Yeah. There's a lot of times I really, truly don't have a lot of faith in NASA, and I'd really rather ride on something SpaceX for a reason. Believe that. Let's see. Scrolly. This is kind of near and dear to my heart. Trust me, this is completely flipping badass. Now, if you guys know the history of my vehicle ownership, I've owned 2 Datsuns, tons of Hondas, 1 Toyota, a Chrysler product from like forever ago, and currently have only Hondas. Well, I'm almost willing to say I'd be willing to buy this Nissan. And I do mean like Nissan, like Infiniti. Why? Because they're finally realizing that there is enough of an older market to go, hey man, we like to kick a clutch and roll gears. So this is coming in from the drive.com. Just give me a second. I need another swig. So Infiniti is now saying that they're going to revive the rear-wheel drive manual transmission sports sedan. So I think BMW still makes a couple manuals, but I think it's like really lower range. I don't think they make like, the 5 Series or the 6 or 7s anymore in manual transmission. But it's now been stated that the 2027 Q as in Queen, 50 S as in Sierra sedan was reportedly teased at a dealer conference with a twin turbo that screams rear-wheel drive and a manual transmission option. Now, there's a phrase that's known in the car industry as a shelf vehicle. So literally what they'll do is they basically have like a body and they go, okay, well, we need like a front end. We have this pre-existing from this other, line of vehicles. We need a rear end. We'll use the rear end off this other previous vehicle. We need a drivetrain. Well, this one is, good enough. We'll take it out of this line of vehicles, plop it all together, make it all fit and make the thing run. And that'll be our new car. Well, so Nissan said, we're going to make this Infiniti, which is, basically like the Acura of Nissan. So it's the nicer ones, okay? So at a dealer conference in Las Vegas, the word was invoked that a few of the favorite things teased in the new model being a rear-wheel drive manual transmission, twin-turbo engine. The Q50 is reportedly getting a reboot as a real old-school sports sedan. Read like back in the good old days where you had rear drive, good amount of horsepower, and a 5-speed or a 6-speed with which to roll gears with. So Automotive News reported the surprising and exciting intel today, definitively saying that the new model will be badged. The Q50S is slated for the 2027 launch. Like the previous Q50 sedans, it'll be built on the Japanese Nissan Skyline sedan platform. So Godzilla might be going away, but the 4-door version will be hanging out. That's cool. This time it'll be a version of the twin turbo V6 that makes 400 horsepower, and it's currently in the Nissan Z. So, an even more powerful Red Sport, which is Infinity's performance branding variant, has already been mentioned as being considered as well. So essentially, that would be like their Honda R or like their Acura Integra R. You know, would be like Nissan's Red, or maybe like the STI of like Subaru, or Toyota's I forget which one it is, but they have like like a TRD, I think it is Toyota Racing Development or Research Development or whatever it is. So basically, like where they take the car, they tune it up a little bit more, and it gets more oomph. BMW has like their brands, their vans. Mercedes has like AMG. So everybody's got like a tuning shop that makes their stuff a little bit better. So they said 400 horsepower. Well, that's Nissan Z car stuff. The transmission, all that stuff, that's all Nissan Z. That's easy to do. Anyway, the thing about it is all this stuff is shelf stuff that they currently have. The Nissan Z, unfortunately, is not as popular as it should be, but they're kind of rehashing the 400 from the 370 and the 350 and the 300 and the 280. They're kind of rehashing, just they're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And when you get in the 400Z, it's okay, but it's not quite as much as the Supra. Well, the Supra is being discontinued because Toyota's like, yeah, that's nice, but it's basically a dressed up BMW. It's really not ours. It's not really drawing that much attention. People take a look at them and they're like, yeah, it's a little faster than the Z, but is it really worth that much money to have just a car that's only a little bit bigger than a Miata with a 6-cylinder? Yeah, it really doesn't hold water, and unfortunately, it really hasn't sold all that great. So, mainstream car company could make a big investment in a niche product for 2025. Same time, it's kind of exactly what Infiniti needs. A true differentiator from the other luxury brands, and a real reason for enthusiasts to pay attention to it. The stick shift novelty play could totally hook well with elder millennials and Gen Xers who have fond memories of ripping around in Maximas and G35s 20 years ago. Now, the G35 essentially was like a later iteration or a later version of a 300Z. It was actually, a lot of people saw it like that, kind of like a bigger, softer, later version of a 300Z. More refined, maybe a little less, kind of bug Ferrari-esque looking thing, kind of more conventional. I don't know how well they really sold in numbers, but I remember when I worked at an Infiniti dealership, they were just coming out and they were, they were around. The G35s and the G350s, I think they were, is Infiniti parlance. So now the ecosystem of manual shift luxury cars in America is down to only a few. The Acura Integra, the Cadillac Blackwing, and the BMW M2 still comes in a stick, but that's only in a two-door. Infiniti already has the platform of the Japanese Skyline and the engine from the Z. Surely the twin-turbo V6 could be juiced to make more power without much more in tuning and maybe some intake and exhaust refinements, but it's not exactly low-hanging fruit, but the brand's not starting from scratch either. Now, that engine that is in the Z is really conservative. They say 400 horsepower. That's conservative, okay? If you look at that VQ, I think it's a VQ motor. If you look at that VQ motor in the Skyline, there's people making 1,000 horsepower in the Godzilla Skylines, okay? It's not like there's untapped potential that's not there. It's just it hasn't been unlocked. Those things could absolutely scream if they wish them to. But unfortunately, Nissan's being just a little bit, conservative. So the thing about it is these things really could rip if they want them to. Really? Really? Is that what you're looking there? You're just looking for a reason to play that? Anyway, so,
I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me.
A burnout with Monkey Pops and Mr. Meeseeks. Okay. I have no... Oh, hang on a second. Let me decode this. He wants to do a burnout. Look at me for making the burnout. And the Monkey Pops, he's popping gear. Okay, he's popping gears. Okay, sometimes it's you have to speak. Well, you got to speak sound guy ease. Yeah, broken neck on that one. All right. Anyway, however, the plan. Auto News didn't hedge at all, and even included Infiniti America's vice president Tiago Castro described the repackaged Q50 as, quote, unapologetic and unexpected in its reporting. Shipped Infiniti's pizza. I can't talk today. I shipped Infiniti's people a line myself to see if they could confirm or add anything, and I'll update the story as we get more information. So it looks like Infiniti is joining Stellantis and taking advantage of America's current regulatory environments to fall back on old tech. I have mixed feelings about that, broadly speaking, but a stick-shift sedan sounds pretty cool. Infiniti teased the low-slug model in the video that revealed a swoopy profile, slender headlights, and Skyline-styled circular taillights. Consider me extremely interested. Well, that thing's not going to be cheap, but man, that sounds very intriguing. You know, the thing about it is, too, is, it's a stick-shift sedan. Dude, you have a back seat, okay? If nothing else, you got room for a couple more people. You have an actual trunk. You actually can take this thing and do stuff with it, okay? It's not that you basically have, the Miata is infamous for, you have room for 2 adults. Wow, it actually fits people. And then you open the trunk, and it's like, yeah, I got room in here for, a gym bag. It's pretty much it. Just give me 1 second. It fits adults. Yeah, that's nice, but it's got no trunk whatsoever. Now, laughingly, they say, the Camaro and the Mustang has a back seat. It really doesn't have a back seat. It's got just enough back seat for you to say on your insurance form that, oh yeah, this is a 4-seat vehicle. Yeah, it's a 2+2. No. Pedro Fever, what's wrong with Sound Guy's head? Everything.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me. I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me.
I got this one. That was nothing but a big pile of... Yeah, thank you, Sound Guy.
I'm Mr. Meeseeks. Look at me.
You are not Mr. Meeseeks. Stop. Jeez. So anyway, that sounds very, very intriguing. And there's always going to be some retro guys. You're basically looking at modern cars. What are they really? Classic thing I can tell you is mostly it's touch screens and it's buttons. Case in point, my 16 Pilot, Mrs. Dude's 16 Pilot, still has a shifter. Now, that's the 6-speed transmission. The 9-speed ZF transmission that was available also in that vehicle, they're push buttons. You basically got a drive button, a neutral button, and a park button. Now, the nice thing is you have the flappy paddles on the steering wheel. But what if you're just trying to drive the thing and you need to have tactile for what gear you're in as opposed to which button you're pushing? I mean, even the guy that actually runs, the customer service, courtesy vehicle guy that basically works at one of the dealerships I go to, he literally looks down for when he's shifting. Me, driving my car, I know, click, click, that's drive. Click neutral, click one more, that's reverse. I'm not even needing to look at the dashboard because I know tactily where these ranges are with a shifter. I'm not needing to hit buttons and go, oh, that's drive, that's neutral, oh, that's reverse, oh, that's park. So, if nothing else, there's that intuitive thing. I mean, you drive stick shift long enough, you know the gear pattern in your sleep. I mean, I can slap a 5-speed literally all over the place, and I haven't driven a stick shift in probably, God, at least 10, 12 years. I still can get in one of those things right now and just, figuring out where the engagement point is for the clutch. I'd be driving it no problem in like 2 seconds. It's like literally like riding a bike. And that's like the running joke is the Millennium car the Millennium car alarm is basically a 3-pedal vehicle. I remember going through this one place and they had valet parking, no stick shifts. So basically, it's like, okay, I just pulled up with a manual transmission. What do you want to do? Let me shift gears here. Sir, could you please park your own vehicle? We can't drive manual transmission. That's literally what would happen, man. Oh, man, that's funny stuff. Anyway, so yeah, that's very intriguing. And usually it's a case of once one guy does it, somebody else is going to go, hey, that's a really good idea. And they're going to do it too. So the time of the manual transmission still is around, okay? The idea of, they're so much better as an automatic transmission. They're so much more reliable now, and they're so much more intuitive, and they're so much more attuned to what the engine needs. Dude, I'd rather slap gears and do it on my own, okay? Hang on a second here. Pedro Fever, I'm hoping the fact that I could drive stick makes me a millennial, makes you an ex-millennial. Well, as long as you can, that's the main thing. Coming from farm country, if you can't, something's wrong, okay? Because a lot of times you're getting in them vehicles and you might be slapping gears. Scroll. Scroll. Oh, this one's a little sad. This one is a little sad. So, for the 50 years it's been utilized, the U.S. Marine Corps has been utilizing something jokingly known as the Amtrak. Technically, it is actually the Assault Amphibious Vehicle, or the AAV. So, if you look at this thing, it's a big, ugly, kind of bulldog-looking guy with tracks, and it's amphibious. Now, if you've ever seen the videos, these things are coming off the back of the boats, and they have all the hatches sealed. You'll see them drive off, and they'll go goop bloop. They'll dive under, and they'll pop back up. If they don't have the hatches sealed, you'll see them dive under, and they won't come back up. So supposedly they made 240 of them. They were utilized since about the 1970s. 1972 is when they went into operation, and they are now being removed from service and being replaced by an 8-wheeled amphibious vehicle. Now, the biggest difference between these two things is the new one obviously has improved drivetrain technology. It actually holds less Marines. The old Amtrak would hold 24 Marines fully equipped. The new one only holds 16. The track vehicle obviously does not get flats, and obviously it does not get stuck easy. It's way, way good for getting up on beaches and stuff, because tracks tend to have a very light amount of pounds per square inch because it's spread out so much. Also, that whole traction thing, you're talking a tire that's like, 20 feet long. You're talking a tire that's like 20 feet long as opposed to a contact surface about the size of 2 palms. All right. Now, the new one actually is very similar to the LAV or the Striker. So it's an 8-wheeled vehicle that is amphibious, has a couple of propellers on the back, or jets, I forget which. I'd have to look up on the article again. But essentially what it is basically like a Striker or like an LAV. It is a troop carrier, lightly armored, intended to get them off the boat, get them to shore, drop them off, turn around, go back, grab the next group. And if you think about it, 16 is roughly about a half a platoon. Platoon's roughly about 30 men. So 2 of those things is a platoon. I tend to think that probably it's a little light in terms of carrying people, but it's better than nothing. So being government contract type stuff, of course, who's building it? BAE. Why? Because BAE builds most military stuff. So they get yet another contract for building more stuff. So it's been decommissioned, and there's an official ceremony that took place. And it was 26 September, and it's now being replaced actively. And officially, the new vehicle is called the Assault Amphibious Vehicle Personnel 7, or AAV P7. Yeah, that was like the old designation. The new one is let's see. Hang on a second here. It's called the ACV, or the Amphibious Combat Vehicle. Very inventive there. Anyway, so it holds 16 Marines, but it's fast. It does 65 miles an hour and does 6 knots in the water, which is not really all that slow, really, because that thing is basically like you're pushing a log through gelatin. They're really not streamlined for water at all. Anyway, so that's what they're going on with that one, and the Marine Corps is basically duffing one, pick up a new, and we'll see how it does in the long view. The Amtraks have been around forever, though. They've been very, very well utilized. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not. This is hilarious. Now, there's a bit of kind of specious information about who did this. Was it a prankster or was it actually the government that did this? But there's more to the story. So, there's a Chinese drone show. 2,000 drones were up above doing a major display, and all of a sudden, 2.5-pound drones started dropping out of the sky and onto the people who are watching. Why? Because the Chinese don't do like we do, and when we do a show with drones, it's over water. Then when the drones fail, they fall in the water, they don't fall on people. Well, they did this show over people, and they were like, oh no, here comes the drones! The drones are falling on us. Ah! So, yeah, drones. Thanks, sound guy. What did I tell you about that sound effect? No. That sound effect sucks, and I told you to get rid of it. No, that sound effect sucks, okay? If you wanted to do it right and the drones are coming down on your head, you have to do it like this. That's what you needed, not this. That sucks. Right. Well, not so much that. Right, that one. That's the one you wanted, okay? So the drone shows are meant to be the future celebration. They're a cleaner alternative to fireworks that don't terrorize every animal within a 5-mile radius. That's not quite true when shows go wrong, and thousands of drones start falling from the sky. However, this was the case in China earlier this month. So a drone and fireworks show in China went disastrously wrong when about 2,000 of quadcopters went haywire and started falling from the sky. The show was in the mainland city of Guangzhou, was hosted by artist Kai Gui Qiang, and was supposed to show off the history, culture, and women of the region. Maybe not so much. To do this, Guo Qiang paired a fleet of thousands of flying drones with fireworks display and lights, which attracted huge crowds to watch. Things got off to a promising start, but went off the rails when the wind started picking up. Footage shared online of the show appears to show hundreds of the drones crashing into one another and falling to the ground. The falling drones splashed into the lakes in the area and left craters in the dust when they hit the ground. Observers can also be seen running for shelter to avoid being hit by one of the drones, which could weigh as much as 2.5 pounds. Thankfully, nobody was hit with a falling drone, and no injuries have so far been reported as a result of the technical issue. The video alone is just hilarious. You're just watching these things pinwheeling out of the sky, and I don't know about them crashing into each other. There's supposition that somebody had what's referred to as a drone jamming gun. Now, the technology on the drone jamming guns, supposedly they work up to 2 miles away. So, what's that, like 4 kilometers almost? 3.5 kilometers? Yeah. So somebody was going, yeah, and they were shooting the things and dropping them out of the sky, and, well, it didn't work out so good, and they were crashing, burning, and just doing their thing. So somebody had the drone gun and was,
That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah, thanks, sound guy. So anyway, they were really crashing and burning, and they went directly into the...
No zone.
Okay, Thank you. What are you doing? So anyway, they had the drone gun.
I say we take off and nuke the entire bitch from orbit.
Okay, I don't know about from orbit, but the drone gun was definitely working. So let's see. Some people online also believe something called an anti-drone gun could also have been involved. According to the outlet, some drones used in the show weren't previously reported to the authorities or registered for air traffic. As such, the police saw the drones as rogue aircraft, and it's been suggested that the jamming guns were deployed. The electronic weapons can stop a drone in its tracks at a range of about 1 mile. I've heard 2. Neither of these figures have been confirmed by authorities in China. No, they won't admit fault in China. Trust me on that one. As the reason of the failure of the drone show, but an investigation of the show has been launched. It's because of failures like this that there are strict regulations around drone shows here in the U.S., and even organizers require to create a buffer zone between the craft and spectators, and limits put on how high drones involved in the shows can fly. These rules haven't stopped rogue drone operators in New Jersey from terrorizing local residents in recent weeks with mystery flybys. And I cannot do it justice, but the video is pretty hilarious. I'll drop it in the room here. But watching these drones just kind of crap out, it's kind of funny because, China's going on about, oh, we are the world leader in drone technology. No. Getting rid of the drivable can of whoop ass. Oh, you mean Martina Sasquatch? Yes, the Godzilla is being demanufactured, lack of manufactured, canceled, stopped. Call it what you will. Yeah, the Godzilla is pretty much a done duck. They are still making the Z's, I believe, but Godzilla has officially stopped production, I believe. And it made me get the Mongoose. Okay, you really don't need that much gumption to take down a drone, dude. Trust me. Even a 22 can drop drones. They're really not tough. As a matter of fact, they're made to be as light as possible for maximum flying time. They're not made to be tough. Let's see. Scrolly. I don't think I saw this one or not. This one is absolutely disgusting. But supposedly Amazon got its pee-pee slapped. Why? Well, because they decided that censoring the guns off of James Bond movie posters was just fine. Well, slight problem. People immediately were like, oh, hell no. James Bond is supposed to be standing with a gun, okay? That's back in the good old days where, that's where we actually said a man's man is, well, a man. So anyway, Amazon immediately was like, wow, okay, we'll put him back. So I decided to have fun, and I gave the movie posters big floppy pink man stuff. Let's just leave it like that. Big floppy, man stuff that you could find by looking for marital aids, shall we say. Okay? I'm trying to keep this G-rated, but I was just having fun with the pictures. Let's see. Scroll. So anyway, they immediately were like, yeah, this was a major error. So you don't need to, redo history. You don't need to clean things up. Just simply give the public what they want. Okay? You don't need to edit history. You don't need to make James Bond, more PC. Not needed. Don't do that type of stuff. You're going to look stupid in the process, and people are just going to rebel. And I saw the news story originally. It was on a forum board. And I made the notion, and I made the statement therein. It's like, if you go on eBay right now, DVDs and DVD players are pretty cheap. So that way you own the content. Nobody can change it up in midstream, and it's yours. You watch it whenever you want. It's not like you need to have a subscription for a DVD. So maybe that's the pushback is people start going, you know what? I think I might increase my DVD classic storage or put it on a hard drive so I have it available whenever I want to see a movie. Let's see. Scrolly. this one is really hilarious. Bernie Sanders made a post. I believe it's going to be on X, formerly known as Twitter. So it's Bernie Sanders with a blue check mark at Bernie Sanders. So somebody got a hold of this and they edited it correctly. So let me read the version that he said first off. Then I'll go back and read the edited version. So what he said originally was, if you have health insurance, I'm asking you to fight for those who don't. If you're native born, I'm asking you to fight for the undocumented. If you can afford an education, I'm asking you to fight for those who can't. The only way to defeat Trump is with human solidarity. So that's the Bernie version. So what somebody did was they basically like lined through his words and added the correct phrasing. So the corrected form is, if you have health insurance, I'm asking you to pay for those who don't. If you're native born, I'm asking you to pay for the undocumented. If you can afford an education, I'm asking you to pay for those who can't. The only way to defeat Trump is with lies, hate, and division. I think that was maybe just a little bit more honest than Bernie really wanted to have. Oh, man, that's just too funny. Scrolly. I referred to this, it was a meme, but I referred to this guy as hipster cannon fodder. And it says this. Yeah, absolutely. I believe 100% that society will collapse from climate change within 20 years. That's why my life plan is 1, live in a big city, specialize in white collar or artistic work. 3, cultivate 0 practical skills. That sounds so much like just the hipster guys, man. They are just absolutely clueless on why the world actually spins. And, oh yeah, it's sunrise and sunset sometimes. Yeesh. Absolutely pitiful. Pitiful. Let's see. Anything else going on? Hang on a second here. Anything else jumping out at me? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, this is hilarious. This it's actually a meme I can translate pretty well here, but it says our new weapon, and it's a sombrero and a handlebar mustache. It's our new weapon. Man. So it kills fake arguments, ruins bad intentions, and stops Democrats in their tracks, mocking them with silly memes and taking down their lies and all of their causes. All we need is a sombrero and a mustache. That's just too flippin' funny. Oh, okay, yeah, it is 10 o'clock. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Got many other things to do on a Tuesday, but I'm so glad you decided to hang out with me. And I truly appreciate your kind attentions, good stuff like that there. I will see you guys next week, unless I do something sooner, but good stuff like that there. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one, and I will see you then. So, Eagle King Thunder is always, you know you love it. I'll catch you guys next week, and see you then. See you guys. Ernest!